Hello my friends, welcome to a new exciting video. Today we're going to dive into this creative look. By the way, I'm so excited that I tried to make this type of look. I would say this is one of my signature makeup looks when it comes to technique. And today we're gonna be talking all about new Pat Mcgrath Sunlit Seduction, also her new IntensifEYES eyeshadow primer, IntensifEYES eyeshadow primer, longwear eye primer. And is it longwear? I still don't know, but it does perform good. That's what I'm going to say for now. Listen, I'm not gonna go into all the drama when it comes to this palette. If you are Pat Mcgrath fan, you would know everything that is going on. But the thing is, I am pleasantly surprised that I managed to do this deep look, because first time when I saw this palette, I was thinking it's going to be much more neutral, but I wanted to see from the artistic point of view, what can I do with this, you know? So there is a full in-depth tutorial with this look, but this is how palette looks like. These are the colors. This is Mothership 11, featuring first shade Skin Tense Radiance, Nude Rose, Hypnotic Bronze, Austral Pink Fetish, Blitz Crimson Ecstasy, Extreme Vermilion Dusk, Copper Dawn, Sienna Mystique, Austral Amethyst Allure, Gilded Aura. I think that's how you pronounce this one. Today I tried 7 out of 10 eyeshadows on my eyes. I also use this palette for my highlight, for my blush, and also for my lips. I can understand frustration when it comes to people wanting different palettes and not just kind of a repeat from the last 3 or 4 palettes. For me, this is, like I said, this is more like a Divine Rose, I would say, another Divine Rose from her collection. But for somebody that wants to wear more wearable eyeshadows, this is a stunning palette and people will buy this. So probably from financial standpoint and probably just business-wise, this palette made a lot of sense. You know, they wouldn't pull this palette this way after what happened for the past couple of palettes if it's not good business decision, I would say. As always in her motherships, she does have like these 4 special shades, and then everything else is just combination of mattes and kind of classic shimmers. These are more special formulas, and they really are. I do have them on my eyelids and they do look stunning. Even this yellow, I was thinking it's going to be too yellow, but no, the undertone is beautiful. And I do love the combination of these 3 mattes. Actually, I used all of them, and I would say it's a minimum to have like 3 mattes in this Mothership so you can create a versatile look. I also love just the combination of the mattes, because I did start with them creating my look, and they do look stunning on itself. Of course, we have here the special shades and the shimmers, which combined together look amazing. So I paid for this palette, and for the primer I paid 150 euros. This is also her first eyeshadow primer. This one is clear, and I did apply just a primer on this side and primer with my skin base on this one, and I do prefer this side, even though it can stand alone with its own, you know, but it was a bit easier for me to blending when I have base underneath. Without any further ado, guys, I just want to jump into this tutorial to show you how I created this look. And I don't know, maybe just let me know your thoughts. Maybe this will change your mind when it comes to Mothership. I don't know. I know this is not your basic, not easy look, but compared to when I usually create my looks, this went really fast, you know, so it was easy to apply, to blend. That's what I loved. And I did manage to get this depth, which I was kind of worried about. I do have a little bit of eyeliner, but other than that, I think this is intense enough, so you can achieve a bit intensity with the deepest shade in a palette, which I wasn't sure if it's going to be deep enough to create what I wanted, but it is. Without any further ado, let's jump into this eyeshadow tutorial. My eyebrows are already done, and first thing I'm going to do is to go in with this IntensifEYES Longwear Primer. This is her brand new eye primer, and this one is in shade Clear. Now, here's the thing. Usually, I would never leave my eyelid as it is, in a sense that I don't have any color underneath before I do my eyeshadow. The thing is, you do want to even as much as you can all of the space where the eyeshadow is going to go. But since I got my package yesterday, I did try this primer on its own on my bare skin. And now on this eye, I already primed a little bit with my foundation just to have a little bit of a skin tone base underneath. And on this side, I'm gonna use this primer with the base. And on this side, I will be using this primer on my bare skin. The thing is, before this tutorial, I just wanted to try this eyeshadow just to see how, if it will perform just with the primer. Again, this one's clear and it took me by surprise that it worked out. It was just a quick application, but still something I was amazed about. So that's exactly what we're gonna do today. My guess is, even though this one's clear, I think what it does, it gives you a coat so that it blocks your imperfections underneath. And that's why the eyeshadow can go smoothly. Well, I don't have that much imperfections on my eyelid, but you still can see a little bit of discoloration. This is supposed to be for a 24-hour crease-proof wear. It is Pat First eyeshadow primer, humidity-proof, sweat-proof, and water-resistant. And it says that it boosts eyeshadow color for enhanced purity and vibrancy. So this is suitable for all skin tones since it is clear. And as you can tell, I am applying this product all over my skin. It glides really smoothly. And on this side, because I already do have my foundation underneath, just to even up a little bit my base, I am tapping the product rather than just, you know, applying it the way I did right here. Just I don't want to lift my base so that I can test if there is any difference. Initially, I wanted to apply one primer on this eye and this new primer on this eye, but it turns out, as I can use this clear, I just wanted to see two variations with this primer. As today I am going for a really rosy look and deep look, I will be using, I think, all of the shadows except for these two, because they do lean a little bit more on a brown neutral side. So I will be trying to incorporate all of the 8 other eyeshadows. Today's look is going to be really intense. I mean, I will try to make it as intense as I can. So I will be using this shade right here as my first shade, Extreme Vermilion Dusk. For this, you do want to use a smaller brush, so I'm taking Precise brush. Well, I'm trying to see if this is creasing or anything, but no, I love that. I'm going on the edge of my eye. First thing, when I saw this palette online, not only just because of the color story, that I was expecting I would prefer a different color story, but I wanted to have a deepest shade than this one. But look what happened when I do pack this shade on my eyelid. So I don't know if my guess will be one of the things is this primer that really intensifies this eyeshadow. It looks even deeper than in a pan. Wow, look. I mean, it's not black, but still, look how intense this is. I am, as you can see, really packing this eyeshadow, but look at now, once I apply it on top of the eyeshadow that already has been packed, it seems like this one oxidized, meaning it looks lighter in the pan as well, but on the skin as well. But once it stays a little bit on your skin, it does tend to oxidize, which I don't mind. Now I'm taking small, clean bullet brush. I just want to try to spread a little bit. I know at the moment it looks crazy and maybe a little bit even patchy because it's harsh line, but trust the process. As I am trying to get a little bit creative, I will try to spread this as much as I can. Now you may ask why I haven't gone with the shade lighter and then pack deeper shade on top of it. The reason for that is I really do want to have the deepest shade at the moment in here, and the best thing to do that is to pack the shade that you actually want directly on your base. And what I can do now is to take a blending brush, and with the tip of my brush I will be using Sienna Mystique shade. It is quite lighter than the previous one, but I think it will make beautiful transition, and I always can go back with this darker shade, but this is the transition that you can get, and I do love these two undertones and how they go with each other. Again, a little bit of the shade on my blending brush, but I definitely will go again with a darker one. But I just want to have this transition right here, and it's easier than just to blend one shade, to fade one shade like this, you know? So it's easier to do it with a lighter shade. Wow, look at this transition. I love this. It is beautiful. And since I am doing transition, I didn't want to pack the Sienna Mystique shade just because it's easier just to build up a little bit of a color at a time when you are trying to blend it out, rather than this darker shade right here. When I packed the shade, I didn't care, you know, just because I do want to make the most that I can from that shade. Once again, Extreme Vermilion Dusk. Applying eyeshadows on this side where I did have my base and then the eye primer on top, I did not see any issues whatsoever. Not even the eye primer did increase, so that is good. And I think it blended really well. I would say even better than this side, and that's just because I did go with a lighter shade on top of the darker a little bit. So you do have to be careful when you are layering these matte shades one on top of each other, the way you do it. So if you're doing this, what I would suggest to you is to take one shadow at a time, blend it well, and then go with the next one, not on top of it, but just rather on the edges of the previous one. That way you will get seamless blend. What am I looking for? I am looking for my brush just to go in again with the darker shade again, and we are going to create this edge right here so we can make a cut crease and see what the difference it does make to my eye. It opens up eye immediately. So I'm taking again small pointy brush. It's like I'm drawing on my face. I barely even touched my skin, and this is what I've got. This is really pigmented, you guys. I'm surprised. I thought this is not going to be deep enough and that I would crave for some other darker shade, but we'll see what we're gonna get at the end. So this is my line, and now I'm gonna take a little bit excess of my brush just to try to blend this. So this is where we are going to later connect, but for now just focus on this area is the darkest, and then the edges obviously have to be a little bit lighter. It doesn't matter if you go at the moment a little bit lower because we will clean that later. What it is important right now is this area right here, because you do have to have a transition from here to your eyebrows and your nose. To make this even softer, I will use small bullet brush. As you can see, this is a bit advanced look, and I will go through a lot of brushes today, but general rule of thumb is whenever you are working with the darker shade like this, you do want to have smaller, precise brushes. That way you can control your eyeshadow way better. Going in with the same brush, you guys. In the meantime, let me know if you do want to see another look from this palette, and let me know which look that would be. Obviously, I already said which shades I will exclude from today's look, but in saying that, I do want to try most of the eyeshadows to create this look with the most eyeshadows that I can. Again, going in with Sienna Mystique. Again, smaller brush. Take the excess off, and look, I am not going on top of the darkest shade, just on the edges. Otherwise, I don't think this darker shade would grab on top of that one. So now I do have a little patching here. One thing that I'm worried now, I also use Q-tips a lot when I am cleaning or removing any excess of the product. The thing is, I already had my base here applied, and right here just the primer, and I'm not sure if I lifted the primer, if that's going to be issue. This is just my kind of first impressions today with this primer. So in reality, I do not know what to expect from it, you know, until I am having time to test it multiple times. At the moment, I would say that I do prefer a little bit of base underneath this primer. It doesn't have to be a lot, so you don't have to have a eyeshadow primer, of course, but you can go with the either concealer or your foundation underneath on your eyelids. But for today's purpose, I did want to try this out. We'll make it work. We'll make it work somehow. You know, you always learn with the new products, and especially if you are testing them for the first time, be prepared to maybe do some fails. I'm definitely going back and forth here trying to fix this. I am avoiding Q-tip just because I don't want to lift everything all the way through my skin, you know. So next shade that I'm going to use is this beautiful shade right here called Nude Rose, and I think that the descriptions matches perfectly what this shade is about. Just a tiny bit on the edges. Again, try not to touch. Even this brush seems to be a little bit bigger than I wanted, but I will now take the clean brush and just go around the edges. It started good, but I would say it was way easier to create this right here. When it comes to shimmers, it will totally be a different game. But at the moment with the mattes, they are the hardest to apply. I don't want to touch this anymore. I will leave it as it is. Right now I'm taking Vaseline and I will make this cut crease sharp. This just reminds me I need to purchase another brush from theis. This is the best cut crease brush ever. And obviously I need another one. Right away going with my Q-tip to clean everything. You don't want to leave any Vaseline underneath. And don't forget to go with the base again on top of the spots that you erased, that you removed actually your product. Usually I would go with a blank canvas from theis when it comes to making a crease, but today I will be mixing, this is brand new Prada foundation, and because I wanted my shade to be a little bit lighter, I'm using the Backstage foundation. This is really light. This is in shade OW, and the Prada in MN45. I do also have a full review of this Prada foundation on my channel, but don't go anywhere until you watch this one. And I'm using small flat brush, and once this has been set, I will go again with a primer on top, just as I did on this side. If you're using your finger, just make sure to not cross on top of the eyeshadow that you already have. Just to make sure everything is covered, I will of course use my brush. I will start with a Skin Tense Radiance color. I'm taking smaller pointy brush. It is flat brush. I will try to apply a little bit of fixing spray here. This one goes just in the corner. This one is really intense, maybe even too intense at the moment. But again, just the edge. Because next shade that I will be using is this beautiful, gorgeous shade Austral something Aura. I don't know how to pronounce this word in the middle, but let me swatch this one for you. I literally, when I saw the pictures, I thought this is going to be more yellow, but it does have kind of rosy sparkles in it, so it is actually like a duochrome. And I love the fact that it's not super yellow. It definitely has that light shifting. For this, I would suggest flat, wet brush. I don't have problem picking up this product. And I will combine this right next to the previous color. Look at this. Can you see this? But what I just realized, I do need a smaller brush so I can really go next to this line. Wow, look at this. Next one is, I would say, I think this may be my favorite. I thought the red one will be, but we'll talk about it later, okay? So I would say this one right here, Austral Pink Fetish. Let me swatch this one for you as well. Again, this is one of her another special shades. Beautiful. I am taking this one as well onto my brush, flat brush, and applying that one. Let me try my finger. These definitely apply the best with a finger, which is totally expected. Now before I continue with the eyeshadow, I do want to apply eyeliner. This is Ingles in number 77 MC Gel eyeliner, my favorite eyeliner ever. I will take my liner brush, and this one is going to be really high. I am also going in my waterline, but just have to be really careful because I am wearing contact lenses. I will try to smudge this eyeliner, so I am using like really small brush. I would prefer if I can use just a black eyeshadow to make a transition, but in this case I will be using just what I have in my eyeshadow pan at the moment. Okay, at the moment actually this turned out pretty good. So I'm using Vermilion Dusk, Extreme Vermilion Dusk again for the edge of this liner. And let me see, by the way, how this combines with the liner. Ooh, pretty good actually. This combined really well with this eyeliner, and I'm gonna go in with the Astral Amethyst Allure, which is this special shade right here. Another stunning shade, a little bit deeper than these ones. Originally I thought I'm gonna create more of a red look, but changed my mind, I guess. You know what, for now I can use my finger, and I will take the excess off and still use pointy brush, which is wet. I do like to use setting spray when I am applying formulas like this. Now to connect this, I am using the darkest matte shade right here, just because I used so many shimmers and I did lose that transition. I will be using now a little bit of this red shade, Blitz Crimson Ecstasy. I'm having a wet brush. The thing with this shade right here is that you have to use either primer, glitter primer or setting spray. Otherwise, because of its formula, you will have hard time to apply this shade. So this is definitely the hardest shade to apply from this palette, and I did see some of the people having issues when it comes to applying this shade. And I can see why, but there is still a way to, you know, work around it. But it's a bit harder to make this shadow work, unfortunately. You know what? I'm just gonna go onto my lower lash line right now. Once again, before I apply my eyeshadow, of course, I am applying this primer. I'm gonna go in just with the primer, and now I'm gonna use this shade right here again and apply it like this. Wow, it looks almost black when the brush is... I forgot it's soaked in setting spray. So as you can see, I'm applying generous amount. I'm trying to connect everything right here, and this is the transition that we have, and that's what I'm going for. I do love this eye technique just because it lifts your eyes so much. I would say it's flattering for anyone. So it's just like a repeat of what I've already done, going in with this shade right here, underneath previous shade. And of course, we'll try to blend this as much as I can. When you are applying your primer, just make sure that you are always applying primer, even more than you may actually need, just in case you do looks like this. Going in with the lightest shade. And now I am switching to the shades that I already have on my lid, just because I want to create same illusion, I would say. This is insanely pigmented, I have to say. Now I am in a shade Austral Pink Fetish, shifting to Austral Amethyst Allure shade. So this one goes nicely into the darkest shade that I already have here. Maybe I should use a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's good. I want to use a little bit of this golden shade, Austral Aura, right underneath my eyebrow, just to give it a little bit like a wet look. Beautiful, wow. This one as well that have kind of a little bit heavier, but still fine glitters. It is not like this red shade. It does have, I would say, a little bit bigger chunks in it. Now before I finish this eye, you can see the difference just with the matte and how deep you can actually go and create even matte, just a matte look with this palette. Obviously you can place eyeshadows differently. This is just like a sketch, but you definitely can create all matte look with this palette as well. So my eyes are done and I will pop some eyelashes and I will finish the rest of the makeup and I will be right back with you. Before I finish, I decided to go with the eyeshadow as a highlighter and as a blush. So I was thinking to mix these two. This one seems like too dark, this one too rosy, so maybe two of them will, maybe it'll give me good blush color. Hopefully I will not mess this up. And also I took the excess of my brush. Oh, this is actually really nice and subtle. Maybe even too rosy. I don't want to take away everything that's going on my eyes. For my highlighter, I won't use this lightest one. It would be too light. But instead, I'm going to mix this one with the rose one and with the yellow one. Work a little bit with my brush. And this is a strong pigment. And at the moment, all I can see is a million small particles. And obviously this will shift a lot as I am moving my head. This is definitely not super fine as a highlighter, but it will look good on camera. I already can say that. Okay, for the end, let me just put some setting spray on. The shifting, because it is from this palette, it's going perfectly with the rest of the makeup. A little bit too strong for the highlighter, unless you are going for this type of look. But other than that, I love how it combined with the rest of the look. But I wouldn't use this as a highlighter in general. Here I am with my finished complete look and with my final thoughts when it comes to Sunlit Seduction palette. First of all, everything that I applied today went for the most part really smoothly. I will emphasize that these three shades that I applied today, they applied without any problem. They go so smoothly and buttery. One shade that I want to talk about is the shade that I've heard people having issue with. I can understand why. In total, I used 7 shades today on my eyes. That's what I have. Except for these two shimmers and also this red one. I did apply just a tiny bit on this eye, but you know, ended up doing nothing for me for the most part. Right here, you can see how, for the first time when I tried to swatch this shade, I realized how you can see a little gap. No matter that I had my primer underneath, it didn't wanna glide smoothly, and that's why I realized that this shade needs to be reapplied a couple of times more just to have the full opacity. If you're gonna go with it just lightly, it won't work for you. Let me show you. So we're gonna do a couple of tests. Right here, I will be using this primer and also will be using glitter primer. So this is from one of my favorite primers, NYX Glitter Brilliance. So what we are going to do here, we are going to swatch this shade on top of the primer, on top of the glitter primer, and also on bare skin. Do not even try to use fluffy brush, especially with shade like this. What you can do, and what I suggest, to take a wet brush. But see how I'm having issue? It doesn't want to stick to a brush, unfortunately. I'm not even going to swatch this. So what I'm gonna do is just, yeah, like I actually did, just take the product on my finger and you will have a fallout. So this is on my bare skin. The thing is, but you can, unfortunately, you cannot do this on your eyelid because the space is of the eyelid so small. But the thing is, the more you press it in, it will stick. But still, it gets a little bit sheer considering how much of a product I took. So now let's go over the primer. I just realized I have to put the NYX glitter primer again. So you can see the difference. Maybe not that much on the camera, but I can tell once I apply this product that it goes the best with a glitter primer. And now if you wanna pick this product up with a brush and use it like that, this is what you're gonna get. The best way to apply this product is definitely with a glitter primer and with your fingers, you guys. No matter which brush I use, it's terrible. Now this is not a question of me having glitter primer. Like you can see, there's wow, that is really bad. So if you do want to have the best out of this product, again, use the glitter primer. It's not that this shade is bad, but you do have to put some effort in it to make it work, to get 100% out of it. I would love to try this shade alone, just do like a smoky eye where I can really pack this on. I would love to do that. Initially I wanted to do a red look, but I'm glad I did this today. I used so many eyeshadows and I really do love this look. Anyways, let's do some more swatches. I just want to compare. First thing, when I saw this palette online, I saw these two colors and instantly they reminded me of a Voyeuristic Vixen eyeshadow palette quad. I'm not even sure if these are the repeat shades. They definitely look like they are. Anyways, this is Voyeuristic Vixen. Now look at these two shades and look at the first two shades from this palette. Like, can we see how similar they are? And the name of this shade is different, but let me do the swatch. So this right here is Voyeuristic Vixen. Can you see how similar these are? I'll definitely say this one has a little bit more rosy undertone from this Sunlit Seduction, but in general they are so close, and that's one thing that I wish we would get differently in the next palette. Please do not have these two variations of the darkest shade or with a light shade. When it comes to primer, yes, you can use it on its own, but what I do prefer is to use a little bit of the color base underneath and then go with the primer. I do love the fact that it did not crease. It's even on its own without putting any eyeshadow. Before I put any eyeshadow, it didn't crease, so that was good. I still do not know if this will stand the test of the time because I obviously have to wear this look to know that, which is good because it's really hot, so I will see throughout the day how this will be wearing. Palette is really heavy. Hey, it's really expensive as well. I do love two things. I love this mirror because these lines, they do make it a little bit narrow, but the way it looks, it is so luxurious. I know I have my fingerprints all over the place, but I do love this right here. Anyways, guys, that is it for today. And let me know which look would you like to see from this palette. If you want me to create something else. What is your opinion when it comes to this palette? I am amazed how I could pull off this intense look like this. I thought it's going to be much more neutral, but I do love the finish, the end result. Other than that, I will see you in my next video. And before you leave, make sure to watch this one and I will see you in my next one. Thank you. Bye.